In Module 3, we will introduce more about Python fundamentals, and also you will write your own Jupyter notebook. Let's talk about the module introduction and the learning objects for this module. In Module 3, we will introduce how to edit Jupyter notebook file to format the document and run Python script. In your prior lab exercise, I provide you the Jupyter notebook file to run the lab exercise. From the lab exercise Jupyter notebook file, you can see we can have different code block and to write Python script, and also we can run to see the output. In this module, not only you will continue to use the Jupyter notebook file to complete your lab exercise, and also you will learn how to write your own Jupyter notebook file. For this class, in the future module, we will using the Jupyter notebook to write all your programming assignment and also including your final project. After we introduce how to write and edit your own Jupyter notebook file, this module we also will talk about more about Python fundamentals. We begin with the concept about the condition and the branching. Continue through the module, you will learn how to implement the loop to iterate over sequences. So those sequences, of course, they are including the data structure we talked about from the module 2. We will review how to write and define the function to perform a specific task. We also give you the example how to perform exception handling to catch the error. And we have the option video to talk about how the classes are defined in Python and to create the object. The learning object in this module including understand how to write and edit Jupyter notebook file, classify conditions and the branching by identifying structure scenario with output. You will understand the loop by using visual example and comparing them to tuples and the list. You understand function by building a function using the input and output. First thing, let's go over the Jupyter notebook, some information about the Jupyter notebook application, and the items we will use. The history about the Jupyter notebook, you will see actually we start from 1980, the Jupyter notebook already being used in Netherlands. So then in 2001, we will initiate the IPython development. Then we will launch a notebook system, and 2011 notebook prototype incorporated. So the Jupyter notebook can be accessed after you install Anaconda IDE. So that you will use earlier in the prior module how to open our lab exercise Jupyter notebook file. So the Jupyter notebook app you can be accessed from the Anaconda IDE. And also one thing is you also can create the Jupyter notebook hub. So then you can access the Jupyter notebook online on the cloud. About the Jupyter notebook, the example we see before, remember in the menu item you have couple different menu item in the toolbar. You can save the file in different format. You can edit format. You can view, you can insert, and also about the kernel and widgets and help. In our lab exercise example, you can see each Python code block actually is in a cell. So there are 3 different kinds of cells in the Python, namely, you have a code. That's usually if you have Python script or other programming language. So then you need to choose the code. Then you can run to see the output. You also have the markdown. So usually the markdown, you can have the format, the HTML code. So then you can format your document accordingly. So the code cell are considered as the current programming language statement. They have to be handled by the related kernel. So then you need to make sure your kernel will be installed correctly. So the markdown cell can, like earlier we said, they are very helpful to creating a document in the correct format. About your current project, you also can create the tables or the HTML format. So for example, you can see the table will look like this. And also in the Jupyter Notebook, you also can insert the formula. You also can write your script into the file. So you see here, we write the file to the python.py source file. So then they will have those information right into your python.py file. We're using the Jupyter Notebook to run some Python script. And of course, you can using the R. So what is the programming language R? The language R actually is another very useful and powerful programming language to do the data analysis for data science. But for this class, we will introduce Python instead of the language R. If you want to know more about language R, you can also see other data science course about more business major. They were using the language R. So in this class, mostly we're using the Python script. So that's why you can add your Python script in your code. So after you have your Jupyter Notebook to either write down to implement your homework assignment or project. So afterward, you can download into different formats to convert your Jupyter Notebook to a presentation. So that's why you see, remember in your lab exercise, after I provide you the Jupyter Notebook, you will open the file and read the content and run each code block. So at the end, you have your result. Everything you can save as the HTML page or PDF file. So that's convert to the presentation. The Jupyter Notebook also you can insert the image. So when you insert image, when you want to display, you can using the HTML syntax to display the image. So that's the brief history about the Jupyter Notebook. In the lab exercise we have earlier module, we also show you a little bit how to open the Jupyter Notebook file, how to run the script, and also how to edit the document. Continue in the next video. You will see the Jupyter Notebook tutorial. In that video, we also will give you the more detailed example how to format your document and how to run the script. So from now on, you will using the Jupyter Notebook for all your programming assignment, including the final project.